Philippines. So I think uh, uh, while we, while the idea of God is and God was is still part of our theology, in the in our continual attempt to bring the gospel should be always in tune with the past. But then, but then Christ should make sense to the people of the past in the present. And so the content, Jesus Christ, I think the the ontological, I want to put it this way, the ontological necessity of Christ should be the paradigm. At least that's from my context I'm talking.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. As I mentioned earlier, language is political. And the translation of the Bible is also affected by who translates the Bible. For example, the word iglesia is found in the Hiligaynon translation of the Bible, which is actually close to the Greek word ecclesia. But before responding to that question, I remember one issue in Bible translation. You know this Hiligaynon translation, you know the translators, composed of Roman Catholics, Baptists, and other denominations. When the word bautizo was translated, or baptizo was translated, the translators had a debate on that. What particular language should they use? If they use the word tugmao for bautizo, then the Roman Catholic Church would react. Because tugmao means what? Immersion. And that's against the Roman Catholic doctrines. They don't immerse. They're believers, they only sprinkle. So to use a neutral language, they decided to vote and said, let us use the word bautizo, so that it's clear to all, I mean, doctrinally, nobody will question the terminology. But if you're a Baptist, you would say, no, go back to the original translation of the word baptizo. It really means you need flood, no? Not, no, hindi lang taliti, but flood. You have to immerse the person. You must be a Baptist. But we said, you know, as part of the decision of the group, they said, let's just use the word bautizo, to be fair. So, Iglesia, I agree with you, you know. I think this is the position of Nong Totit. Worldviews also change. It depends on how we interpret the context, and it depends on how educated we are. So education really contributes to our understanding of words or language. So if simbahan means dancing, maybe for us today, I think it's still true. No? If you're a member of the Pentecostal church, you should dance, and that's the right word for us. Simbahan, you dance. If the context is 19th century or 20th century, a translator should always look at the language as the basis of its background, how it was used, and should be interpreted in the context of its own time. So interpretation is always based on the context, how it was understood during that particular period. If there's a change, then it means that language becomes dynamic. And I would say it's acceptable. You know, in biblical translation, you have this, what you call dynamic equivalence, how you interpret the language so that it becomes more meaningful to our time. So it's true. Language can be interpreted, or a term can be interpreted based on how it was used in a particular period of time.
Okay, this time, pastor from the Imperial Manila, the imperialist pastor, Pastor Luis Olivio. So,
magandang umaga po. Katanungan ko po ay para kay Bishop. Magkakaintindihan kami ni Bishop dahil parang kami lang dalawa, Tagalog talaga rito. Bishop, sa inyo po presentation kahapon about sa pastoral ministry challenge, no? Minpito. Correct me if I'm wrong po, hindi ko lang narinig kahapon. Kasi parang nakita ko na hindi nababanggit, no, yung kanyang relasyon sa kanyang pamilya. Parang sa akin, parang neglected na challenge sa ministry ng mga pastor ang kanyang pamilya. Kasi parang naniniwala ako na parang hindi ka magkakaroon ng spiritual stability kung hindi maganda ang iyong relasyon sa iyong asawa, sa iyong mga anak. In reality, hindi lamang siguro sa Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, may mga kapastoran na ngayon na hiwalay sa kanyang asawa. At may mga kapastoran na nagkakaroon ng affair sa ibang mga babae. So, yun lang po, yung parang observation ko na parang hindi natin natatalakay. No? Kasi parang, hindi, maganda naman ang relasyon ko kay Lord. How can we said na we have a good relationship with God when in fact we neglect our wives and our children? Yun lang po ang ano po.
Oo. Kanina po sa anong tawag doon sa parang summary or yung kanina po ay binanggit ko po saan nabanggit ko nung kahapon na the seven challenges ahead